Welcome to another neXup podcast. I am your host, PC747. This show is geared towards talking about a lot of things going on with tech, as well as some of your stuff dealing with entertaining and what is trending in the world of tech topics and so on. So what got me into tech, I've said many times, was when I first picked up the Motorola Droid, I didn't know how to use it. And so what I had to do was, go to the forums, try to figure it out. And in that process of going down that road, trying to learn how to use my Motorola Droid about 10, 11 years ago, that what got me on this trail, this path of wanting to know more about tech, playing more with it. And yeah, now I am talking about it. So for today's show, I'm going to break down the hot topics what's going on in tech for this week. But before I get started talking about tech, this is the big day. This is Endgame. 426. We've all been waiting for this ever since really the start of the whole Marvel universe, back when Iron Man first came onto the scene. This is 11 years in the making. A lot of us excited about the movie, and I'm not going to talk about it. When it comes to movies, a lot of times I will do what I call a no spoilers review or a hate spoiler review, as how I titled it, because I want to talk about the movies in a way where it gives no spoilers, because like a lot of you out there, I hate spoilers. I don't want even a hint of spoilers in anyone's review. So, in fact, if it's a big movie that I'm looking forward to, a lot of times I will not watch any reviews because I want to go to the movie cold and enjoy the movie for, all of its surprises. And because of that, I am not going to do a review for Endgame, for at least another month or two, to allow people to go out there and be able to go to the theaters cold. But the point, or what I want to do when I talk about Endgame, is not about the movie itself, but all the spoilers that people are having to deal with. It's to the point where a lot of people are having to turn the phones off and get off of social media because they don't want to have this movie spoiled. And I understand. We've invested years into this movie, waiting for this thing, waiting for this moment to come to this point, to see everything come to this moment. And we don't want that spoiled. We don't want someone to get so excited about what they saw that, they put that out there. And I don't think everyone that spoils it is doing it to be malicious. Some people may have gotten the opportunity to see it on Thursday, or, they know a friend who are reviewers, so they was able to get early screeners. And they are so excited to talk about it. They start jumping into it. Before they know it, they don't realize they are spoiling. So, and for those who haven't seen the movie, it's like, keep it to yourself. Let me go in, let me enjoy it for myself. And after I get an opportunity to see it, after I had a chance to enjoy it, then we can talk about it. And there's a lot of people who kind of have that feel right now, and I understand it. And like I said, I've done my best to keep away from anything on the Twitters, on the blogs, the social media, everything. I pretty much turned everything off. There are people out there who are doing YouTube videos that have probably nothing to do with any game, that talking about things Marvel related, and I just kind of avoided that because at this point, I'm so excited about this movie. I don't want to have any potential chance of it being spoiled. So I know that feeling, and I'm not going to say anything else about Endgame. Now, I do have one thing to spoil in the movie. One thing. It has nothing to do with the movie, but it's kind of regard for those of us who are tech fans. So apparently, the Google Pixel makes an appearance in the movie. I haven't seen the movie yet, so I'll be looking forward to see where in the world this Google Pixel makes its appearance. I'm pretty sure what it's going to be is somebody, one of the characters in the movie will be using that phone. But I guess if you consider that a spoiler, then my bad. But go enjoy Endgame, and I personally can't wait to go see it. I'm pretty sure I'm going to see it. I know definitely going to see it at IMAX, but if it's as good as I've heard it is, I probably would definitely check it out more than once. But let's go ahead and talk about the big topic of the week, and that's the Galaxy Fold. And this is what, 3 weeks in a row, maybe even more, where the Galaxy Fold have taken over the tech sphere. And yeah, I was excited. I was excited for this phone to finally get out there because I knew the potential that this phone meant for the entire technology or for the smartphone in general, where we could go with it. We finally get a chance to see the next evolution of smartphones, and we're here. Now, I knew that this was generation 1. This was kind of the path to the answer to finally get there, but I knew this was not I hate to say it, the end game as far as when it came to what we was planning on having with this device. Well, it looks like, this generation 1 device that was put out here by Samsung may have been released just a little bit too soon. And in saying that, because Samsung put it out there, they gave out review units. We talked about it last week. I'm pretty sure you saw it all over the web that there have been a bunch of people with review units noticed some problems. Now, the majority of people who had review units, have talked about the excitement they felt with the device. They admit this is not a perfect device. It's probably not a device for most people to buy, but they can see where Samsung is going with it, and they can see where this is going to be really, really big. But yeah, so just to kind of recap on what happened, people with review units were noticing issues with the screen, whether it be the screen coming off through them peeling it, then thinking it's a screen protector, or in one case where a reviewer from The Verge had something get underneath it and it caused the display not to work. So with all that happening, there was concerns whether or not this is going to make its way into the main device, the retail unit devices when regular customers pick it up. Because again, this phone, even though it's a generation 1 phone, it's $2,000. Now, we don't expect this phone to be perfect, but at $2,000, you cannot have this issue. You can't. I'm sorry. You can't have an issue where a customer can pick up a device and it stop working within days after they have it. This would be a huge problem for Samsung. Well, it turns out that iFixit went ahead and started tearing apart the phone. And because that's what pretty much iFixit do. They take a brand new phone, they tear it apart, and they put it back together. They kind of give it a score to give people an idea how easy it will be to repair the phone. And it really kind of gives people an idea of what's in it. So, iFixit is one of the people who actually do that. There's another channel, a couple other channels that kind of do something similar, such as Jerry Rig, everything. But iFixit, yeah, they'll get a phone and tear it apart. So in doing so, they noticed that there was a 7mm gap that could allow something to get underneath it and, yeah, cause a problem. And also, as well as noticing how fragile the screen was. And this was so big of a revelation that Samsung actually went to iFixit and asked them to pull it, and which they did. But it's like, why even do that? Now, their thought process is, well, we gave you a retail unit, you tore it apart, and you found something, and you rebuilt it. And I felt that was kind of a poor move on Samsung's part. Now, I understand, this is a big device. You don't want to spoil, but you should not have put that out there. You should have been the first one to notice that. It shouldn't be on iFixit to have to pull that because you guys failed as far as the quality assurance department. And after that, Samsung basically just went ahead and pulled the device for now. They said that they want to spend a little bit more time allowing their quality assurance department to dig in and look at all the issues with that people coming up on the display and make sure we can have this issue fixed before they release it. So basically, we're expecting it to get released in the next couple months, and hopefully all these issues are fixed. Now, here's a statement that came from Samsung themselves, and it pretty much says, we recently unveiled a completely new mobile category, a smartphone using multiple new technologies and materials to create a display that is flexible enough to fold. We are encouraged by the excitement around the Galaxy Fold. While many reviewers shared with us the vast potential they see, some also showed us how the device needs further improvements that could ensure the best possible user experience. To fully evaluate this feedback and run further internal tests, we have decided to delay the release of the Galaxy Fold. We plan to announce the release date in the coming weeks. Initial findings from the inspection of reported issues on the display show that they could be associated with impact on the top and bottom exposed areas of the hinge. There was also an instance where a substance found inside the device affected display performance. We will take measures to strengthen the display protection. We will also enhance the guidance on care and use of the display, including the protective layers so that our customers get the most out of their Galaxy Fold. We value the trust our customers place in us, and they are always our top priority. Samsung is committed to working closely with the customers and partners to move the industry forward. We want to thank them for their patience and understanding. So that was a statement from Samsung. Now, the obvious question has to be, why didn't they catch this? Why was this something that, was allowed to even get to the get to the pre-production phase where reviewers were able to catch this, and they didn't? Because you would think that coming off of the Note 7, where we know what happened with that, the Note 7, where the battery issues have pretty much changed. Airlines now have changed some of their safety equipment because of the Note 7. Some airlines now have gloves and a bag just in case a phone like the Note 7 ever catches fire on an airplane, to be able to handle that. This was the impact that Samsung left as a result of the failed Note 7. They saw at that point right there that there was a fear from certain customers and even the industry. Could this be the end of Samsung? Now, we know it wasn't. We knew that Samsung was big enough to be able to come back from this. In fact, had this been any other company other than Apple and Samsung, they may never have came back from this. If this had been an HTC phone, LG phone, Motorola phone, it would have been over for them. Even potentially the Google Pixel. Had the Google Pixel had this issue, I think that would have been even over for them, even as big as Google is. But for Samsung, they were able to come back from this because of how big of a company they were and how strong of a performance they have shown up to that point. And they continue to do that. But they saw how a mistake in manufacturing ended up hurting them for a while and end up hurting the trust of their customers. Now, thankfully, this phone did not make it to the stores yet, but it should have been caught before it got to that point. And this makes me ask the question, with all that is going on with the Galaxy Fold right now, with the QA issues, the issue with the display, which we knew was about to come, we knew that this being a Generation 1 device, could this be the end of the folding devices? And I say no. In fact, I kind of repeat what I said last week. I'm glad this happened. And the reason why I'm glad this happened is because had we waited until this device was popular and more manufacturers have picked up on this to find this, I think it would have slowed down where we could go with this. But to find it now, right at the beginning, I think is very big and awesome because it's going to allow us to get better with it. Companies like Huawei and all these other manufacturers who were so excited about putting this device out there are going to step on the brakes a little bit and take the time to get it right. And that is what we're going to need to make sure that this technology end up being as beneficial for the mass market. As well as, because we are taking time to get it right, we're getting manufacturing right on it, we're slowing everything down, we're going to allow the software to catch up. Because one of the things that we did see when reviewers were using the phone was that the software still needed to catch up. We still needed to get the tablet apps to work. And because that's the biggest weakness of this device, which have been the reason why tablets for Android haven't worked, is because when it comes to apps, for whatever reason, when apps for tablets just doesn't work well for Google. It's why the Google tablets have failed and Apple got it right. In fact, it's why I have more hope, and honestly can't wait to see what Apple do with it, because Apple have figured out the tablet game. And I think they're going to be able to do one of the most as far as pushing this technology forward. Like, I think Samsung's going to lead it and get it started, but Apple is going to give it the kick in the backside that it needs to get it going further than it needs to go. And this is coming from someone who's not really an Apple fan. And I've always said when it comes to Apple, they sit back, they take everyone else's technology, and they incorporate it in their own. They do a great job marketing the technology to the point where a lot of people feel like Apple came out with it first or give Apple credit for it, when really it wasn't Apple's innovation. Apple didn't come up with the idea. Apple just knew how to take it and respin it into making people believe they did it, and they did it well, when they really, to be honest with you, just know how to package it well with a lot of the other devices they have in their ecosystem, as well as having people who love Apple so much, they're willing to overlook their flaws. But I do think when it comes to these folding phones, Apple will come up with a way to show the market how to do it right when it comes to the software integration with the hardware. Now, as far as really pushing it forward, it's going to take a combined effort, a lot of manufacturers to learn from each other to get where we need to go. And it's why, personally, I love the competition between Apple, Samsung, Google, Huawei, and all the other companies out there that are constantly putting out smartphone technology. Because of that competition, it is why we're going to continue to get where we want to go as far as technology, because we're going to learn from each other. We're going to see the mistakes that's going to happen. And yes, you want to get the best overall device as more minds are able to dissect this and put their input on seeing where this can go. Now, as far as the future of folding phones, I know it's going to be bright. I know it's going to really change where we're going to go. It's going to change the tablet game, and it's coming at the right time, right when we got 5G coming along. And I look forward to it. And for a lot of you guys out there who are concerned, like, with what's going on and whether or not we should, feel like that, well, maybe this is it for folding phones, don't feel that way. Again, this is generation one. We knew there were going to be issues. We knew there were going to be problems. And for whoever felt that there weren't going to be one, you were living in a dream world. We knew it was going to happen. And this is the best time to have it happen, when it's not out there where customers have gotten a chance to pick it up. This was picked up by, thankfully, reviewers. So no customers had to endure this. Now, Samsung, people are going to be looking at you when you finally do put this device out there. And you know that the moment you put it out there and it's an actual retail item, this device is going to be torn apart. All the things that iFixit exposed, they're going to be checking for that. And if you have not fixed that, oh my, you're going to have a lot of people jumping on you, and deservedly so, because you had the opportunity now to look and fix this. But my question kind of is it too late for them to get this fixed? We're talking about a device they've been working on for a while. And this makes me concerned whether or not they're going to truly fix it or throw a Band-Aid on it just to get it out of there. And with this being a Generation 1 device, I have a feeling all they're going to do is throw a Band-Aid on it. And because of that, this even makes me more cautious about this device. And I'm pretty much already said for people not to buy this, and I'm sticking by it even more so, because with all these units ready to go, they're ready, probably the majority of them boxed up, ready to go, to get them onto shelves. They're not going to pull this and fix it. And we saw what happened with the Note 7 when they tried to throw a Band-Aid on it the first time. It still ended up becoming a problem, and it ended up eventually getting pulled. And yeah, I think we're going to see that happen with this Galaxy Fold. And yeah, for you out there that are looking forward to this device, like I said, for Generation 1, the main thing you should do with this device is just see where it's at, enjoy it as far as seeing the reviews and seeing other people use it. But as far as buying it, yeah, be wary. I don't think it's going to be ready to go, and there are going to be a lot of issues that are going to come up beyond what had been exposed now. And this is going to be what it's going to take to get it right. Now let's go ahead and talk about all the news that is going on as far as both smartphones as well as cord cutting. And I want to start with NFL Sunday Ticket. Now, NFL Sunday Ticket for football fans like myself, we always wanted it. In fact, let me tell you the significance of this. Now, when I first moved from the iPhone 3GS to the Motorola Droid, the app that almost kept me from staying with the Motorola Droid was NFL Sunday Ticket. I love using NFL Sunday Ticket on my iPhone 3GS. I thought it was awesome to be able to enjoy NFL or live NFL games on your smartphones. And the iPhone 3GS was not the first device that allowed you to do that. That before DirecTV had the exclusive rights, it actually belonged to Sprint. And those of you who had the Palm, I think it was a Palm Trio or a Palm phone, you was able to enjoy that off of Sprint's network. Now, of course, you had to be in an area where you had the towers that were strong enough to handle it, but you was able to enjoy live games over 3G on the Palm Trio. Now, Sprint lost the rights and DirecTV picked it up. And pretty much DirecTV was able to really build their house upon NFL Sunday Ticket. It was pretty much the reason why they got a lot of subscribers to their satellite dishes, because of the fact of live NFL games. And they built pretty much the entire thing around it. So much so that they was offering, you sign up with us, we'll give you a free year of NFL Sunday Ticket, because they know that they want to make their money back afterwards. So when I first picked up the Motorola Droid, it didn't have NFL Sunday Ticket. And I kept looking through forums and, to try to see if it would get it. And when I didn't see anything that showed it would, I almost returned my Motorola Droid for a BlackBerry Storm 2, that's what it was. So I almost returned it for a BlackBerry Storm 2. And thankfully at the time when I was at Shreveport and I picked that up, a rep talked me out of it. And to this day, I'm so thankful the rep did so. He said, listen, I know you're hyped about the NFL Sunday Ticket. I'm telling you, Android is new right now, but they will get the app. Just relax. Just take your phone home. You'll be all right. I'm not going to let you return it. And I am so glad he did that. Because not even a month or so afterwards, it finally came to the Motorola Droid. Now, it had some issue where it was freezing up and everything, but I was actually having the same issue on my iPhone. And it ended up being that it just, where I was at, it just didn't work so well. Now, the exclusivity or the exclusive rights to NFL Sunday Ticket that was exclusive direct to TV is now coming to an end. And what this would mean for all of us out there means someone else is going to pick it up. And how is this going to look when that happens? There are rumors out there that potentially Amazon could pick it up. One of the rumors one of the sites that put that out there was Cord Cutter News, and it's pretty much a blog and saying there's a potential that Amazon and Disney could offer NFL Sunday Tickets to cord cutters, and how that would look, where now you no longer have that have to sign up with DirecTV. Now for DirecTV, that's going to be bad for them. But for people like us who are cord cutters, who are no longer subscribing to big cable packages, we could finally get our NFL without being stuck to that. Now, my concern is that Verizon is going to pick it up. And if that happens, you have to be subscribed to Verizon to enjoy it. Now, we have to see how this plays out. But for people like myself who are fans of the NFL, I will be keeping up with seeing where this goes. Continuing on. So this came out of BGR. So it looked like the iPhone 11 may have got leaked. So Foxconn CEO I guess he had like a press conference, and somehow he had the phone in front of him and someone got a picture of it. Now, all they got was pretty much the back of a phone. It's like his hand is covering over what may be an Apple logo. And it may confirm the fact that the new iPhone will have 4 cameras. Now, we have to wait and see if that's the case, if that's going to be the route that Apple goes. And if they decide to go with 3 or 4 camera lens, how will they integrate that software, and how will that help them as far as their customers goes. For Apple fans out there, I'm pretty sure you guys have seen a lot of Android phones out there lately having 3 or 4 cameras, and you were thinking it's a matter of time before the iPhone go that route. Now, impressing as it is, the Pixel is still dominating all these phones out there with 3 or 4 cameras with just one. And that goes back to Google and doing a great job with their software. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Google do this year with the next Google Pixel. Will they follow the trend of adding more cameras, or will they continue to dominate with their one camera? Speaking of something from the cord cutters, looks like Verizon inks a deal with YouTube TV. So Verizon's customer, or Verizon, who also have Vodafone as well as their Fios. Now they have Fios TV, which they was putting as part of their bundling service, which is big with a lot of the cable companies. They love to bundle their service to find a way to, as they say, package more things together to be able to justify raising the price of your bill. And with everyone kind of running away from Fios TV, they needed some way to still find a way to bundle their service with another cable package. And what better way to try to get some of the cord cutters that ran away from their Fios TV and make it feel like you're on their side by, bringing in YouTube TV, the company that cord cutters have, gravitated to. And to me, this kind of explains maybe why Google went ahead and felt comfortable with raising their price up to $45 or $50 a month. Because if they know or knew that this was about to be signed, then they had to worry about cord cutters talking about they about to bail out. Because, if for all the customers they may lose on that end, they're probably going to gain that back with the new deal that they just signed with Verizon. So if you're a Verizon customer, be on the lookout for that, as you may be getting YouTube TV at a great deal. Now let's shift real quick, because I want to talk about where we were about a year ago. Now, MoviePass, which was already popular, or I can say popular, already in the market for a while, had some popularity come up last year. And the reason why, because last year there were a lot of big movies that came out, and it's like, if you could subscribe to a card and get a chance to watch all these movies, for a monthly fee, it may be a good deal for a lot of us. So people jumped on board with MoviePass, and people started having issues, like myself. I picked up MoviePass. I think I tried to use MoviePass to watch Infinity War and had some issues with it. I actually wrote about it on my website, and after that, MoviePass went away. And you had other companies out there such as Cinemia, and it was a matter of time before people finally said, as far as paying a subscription for to watch movies, I'm not feeling that anymore. And this thing have come and gone real quick at a surprising rate. I didn't expect this thing to kind of phase out so quick. Like literally a year from now, done. MoviePass is gone, and now Cinemia is pretty much closing shop here in the States. And you know what? I don't think people really miss them. I don't really feel like a lot of people was talking about, Movie Pass or Cinemia like there was something that was groundbreaking. What it was trending at the time. People were like, let's check it out. It may be something worth doing. And you know what? It ended up being what people thought. It was a waste of money. It was a ripoff. I was with all these movies we thought would be big. There was only some that were worth spending the money for to go to the movies. In other words, unless you were someone who was a movie reviewer or wanted to start a blog for watching movies, everyone else didn't really need that. For you who did that, it made sense. Everyone else, you know what? The few times me and the family go to the movie or we all go to the movie, we have the money to be able to enjoy that. And most people out there, they're not watching a movie more than once. They may check it out maybe twice or three times, something like a big movie like Endgame or something. May have some repeat viewings. But other movies out there, yeah, most people, they catch it once and it's just not worth spending the money for a subscription for that. So, yes, they're gone, but I don't think they're going to be missed. Now, Amazon subscribers out there, if you out there and, you got this item, you got to have it tomorrow. And, well, if that is you, it looks like Amazon is going to come up with a way of offering one-day shipping to their customers. Now, for people out there who, you got to have it the next day, it may end up being something that's good for you. For me, I can actually say that there's not a lot of things out there where I needed it the next day. But to be fair, there have been some things that, I was willing to click that one-day shipping thing because of, like something like a keyboard or something that you feel you need right now. You was able to just go ahead and get it the next day. Now, I can see proponents of this saying that, well, why don't you just go ahead and go down the street to the store or do this, that. But I think where Amazon continues to grow is for people like us who are constantly busy. If you want a set schedule where, you literally don't have a lot of ability to veer off your path or your selected schedule, I can see where this can get in the way, where you literally at this time you gotta be here and you got maybe 5 minutes before you gotta be here, 10 minutes before there, and you're trying to pack all that into a schedule where when it comes time to getting sleep, you'd be lucky if you get 5 or 6 hours of sleep. And that's for a lot of people who we're just more busy today. So we don't have the time to be able to go to the store every day, especially if it's something like, where your nearest Walmart or electronics store is out of the way in the traffic. It's like, it's not going to be worth the trouble. Even though there's something you need, it's not worth the trouble to go out there and get it. In fact, it is more beneficial to be able to go onto your phone and click send and have it show up at your mailbox the next day than it would be to go down the street. So for people like that who are always busy, always on the go, this is where this is going to benefit them. And I can see them jumping on board with this. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the Pixel 3a. Looks like that is showing one of the color variants that may be coming out there is a purple and yellow. When it comes to the Pixel 3a, I know there's been a lot of news on it. For me, I'm not so much excited about it. Yes, Google's putting out a mid-range Pixel. I felt like, when it comes to their Pixel phones, I almost felt like it almost veered on that mid-range level anyway. So what they call a mid-range version of it, I don't think was that big of a step difference. But they're excited about getting this out there. The Pixel line is popular, and if they price it right, I could see where they can get a big following of people. So offering in different color options, maybe something to allow them to compete with something like the iPhone XR, as well as the Galaxy S10e. So if they looking to package this right, put it in the right spot, hopefully they can get some help from other retailers. And I think the big thing for them is to be able to find a way to get this in Best Buy. I know they got a deal with Verizon, and depending on how that deal works and the structure, it may prevent them from doing that. But if this do not include their 3A, if they could kind of get away from that variant of being stuck in Verizon, they can put this in Best Buy and put this in the aisle where they unlock phones, where where the Motorola G phone is at, and put that right there. I can see where this can potentially be a big hit for customers out there who want a decent phone. They want kind of a name brand phone, but they don't want the price tag to go with it. And this can do well right there. As far as talking about phone manufacturers that are looking to do more with their name, well, OnePlus came onto the scene years ago. We're down to the OnePlus 7 coming up in the next couple of months. Now, I talked about my primary phone to this day being a OnePlus 6T. I prefer it over my Pixel 3 XL. Now, when it comes to the camera, I've said a number of times, the Pixel 3 XL had a better camera. But as far as the overall device, I choose to make the OnePlus my daily driver, and for a good reason. Well, OnePlus is looking for, as they say, a raise, as they want to be raising their price to a level of potentially $750 for. Now, this, I'm not sure if it's going to be their most expensive model or this is going to be the average for what they're expecting. Now, what OnePlus is looking to do this year is be more of a phone manufacturer that's going to have more of the bells and whistles to be able to compete with something like Samsung. And you know what? I think this is the next evolution for where they needed to go, especially now that they're in places like T-Mobile and they got more eyes on them right now. HTC kind of fell off. LG kind of fell off right now. They're going through their issues. OnePlus had the opportunity of capturing that second spot or third spot right there in that area. And I can see them doing that. As far as last week when I talked about the Pixel 3 XL being number 3, well, OnePlus was number 5. So it won't take them much to really get up those ranks. Because as far as innovating and exciting the market, outside of Samsung, who else is really doing it? And I feel like OnePlus did that last year with the OnePlus 6T. They got me excited about where they are going and where we can go with smartphones. And in fact, I felt like the reason why I made the OnePlus 6T my daily driver, because it was the perfect phone to fit right there in between the Pixel and the Samsung. For those who want stock Android from the Pixel variant or Pixel phones, you got a stock build. But if you wanted a little bit more, you felt like stock Android was boring, and you wish it had a little bit more specs. You wish it had a little bit more of this without all of the software bloat of a Samsung. That's where that fit in, and I can see them really expanding that market, expanding their market share, especially here in the States. They got their names out there. People know who they are. So to put out a phone that has a little bit more power, especially like something like a 5G phone, have the specs people want to see, extra cameras, it looks good, it's something that more people want to gravitate to. Yeah, I can see that they can price that at a point where it's still going to get people want to buy it. And like I said, at $750, when you compare it to something like what you're getting out of the latest Samsung phone and iPhones, most people ain't gonna look at that and think, well, you know what, you guys are getting too expensive. In fact, I think a lot of people gonna feel like, okay, I'm still willing to pay that money. Especially again, if OnePlus can bring even more to their phones than what they offer with the 6T. So yeah, if they're bringing more hardware specs and a little bit more of the power to the latest phone, the OnePlus 7, people are going to gravitate to it. And I won't be surprised to see if, at the end of the day, right behind Google Pixel, end up being the OnePlus. If this year OnePlus don't jump Google and becoming probably the second best smartphone in the United States. Actually, third best, because I keep forgetting Apple. I would say the second best Android smartphone as far as in the States. So I'm going to go ahead and close out my last bit of news. So for those of you out there who you love big tablets, you're a big fan of that. When I say big tablets, I'm talking about you want the biggest thing that you can hold, and you have been a fan of the Galaxy View. Well, it looks like Samsung putting out another View, and yeah, for $740, this is going to be something that is coming to AT&T, and it will offer you a display, like I said, 17.3 of 1080p display. So as far as specs, it's not going to be a powerhouse. Don't look for this thing to be a powerhouse. I think looking at the specs, I would just basically call it a Android power display. You're not buying it for the specs. You're buying it for a big display to watch movies, TV, or something with it. So pretty much, if you want something that maybe not as big as a computer monitor, but you want something bigger than your tablet that you can maybe put on a nightstand or put somewhere, this is probably where that fit. And you'll be able to enjoy some movies on a nightstand while you're going to sleep or something like that. This is where that fits. So that's for you. You were a fan of the another good place for it if you're traveling. If you travel a lot, you can put that on your on the table, while you're on the aircraft and watch a movie there. This is perfect for that. In that 12,000 milliamp hour battery, it should be able to last a large portion of the flight, if not the entire flight. And yeah, people like that, they're going to gravitate to that. $740, yeah, it may be expensive, but for people like that, you know what? They're going to want to buy that, and it makes sense. So as we go ahead and get ready to close out, I talked about my Pixel 3, and there's something I kind of want to discuss. Now, I've had this attitude when it comes to Samsung customers, and I got to admit to it. Anybody I see with a Samsung phone, I can't wait to talk about how, yeah, the Pixel had the better software. I will buy a Samsung phone, but I don't like the Samsung software. And I have not been shy from that. I've talked about that probably a lot on a lot of the videos I've shot on here. When it comes to software, the reason why I did not like Samsung software, one is because, again, it's not on the latest version, and two, I've always felt like it was buggy. Well, I have something I got to say. So I was sitting there playing my own Pixel 3, and twice I've noticed when I go to turn on my Bluetooth, when I'm trying to pair it to something, it ended up freezing. And it was to the point where the last time this happened, the phone froze. I was trying to power it off. I couldn't get it to power off. I tried plugging it into an outlet, couldn't get the power. I don't know what happened. And then eventually, I guess it finally came back to. And this was like the second time I've had this bug. Now, it may be a minor bug that's, it's going to eventually get updated and not be an issue anymore. But when it comes to my Pixel 3 XL, I've noticed several times bugs that pop up. And some of it being, I feel like, a result of the hardware and the software just not being where it needs to be. So much so where, yeah, it's weird, but my Pixel 3 XL has been more buggier than my OnePlus 6T. And for someone like me who have criticized Samsung phones and talked about where the software is just not up to snuff, it's why I won't gravitate, I won't pick one up as far as a daily driver. I felt like, man, this is like almost like a wake-up call saying that, at the end of the day, as much as I still love stock Android still has some flaws, and it's going to be that way in any technology because anything dealing with software, even an iPhone, Apple going to still have flaws in that. It's why that they constantly put up software updates. They constantly trying to improve the software. And anytime you fix one thing, you may potentially break something else. That's part of the game. And yeah, so for those of you out there who have Samsung phones, you heard me criticize your phone, and I've kind of had this attitude towards it. I guess in a way, this is kind of my apology for that. I'm still going to prefer a stock Android phone, but my attitude towards Samsung and their software, it kind of needs to die down. In fact, I will say this, as much as I've talked about Samsung and other manufacturers' take on Android, I feel like that was the sole reason why Android got as strong and as popular as it is now, is because allowing each manufacturer to put their own little spin on it and have their own ability to create and be different from each other is why we are where we are with Android phones. In fact, I think that as much as I'm someone who at the time said that I didn't want Samsung or other manufacturers to be able to put their spin on Chrome software or Wear software, I'm thinking that's the reason why those softwares are not as popular as the phone. And as much as I really don't want to open up to fragmentation and the chance of like buying a Chromebook and it not getting updated, as frequently as it should, I may have to double back on my stance on what I was saying about not allowing manufacturers to put their own spin on it. In fact, I think it's time now that maybe we may need to open up Chrome OS to other manufacturers to be able to put their own spin on it, especially if we're trying to get to a point where we have Chrome OS integrate well with Android. Because if we could finally have a Chrome, let's say we had a Chromebook that, it got the updates that it needs, but it had a little bit more of the software from Samsung. If it had the ability to have something from another manufacturer and be able to mold it into more than what we see, potentially we could see this hardware or this movement be bigger than what it is. So anyway, that's just my thought process on that. Now, as I get ready to close out, I just want to say a couple of things to people out there. First, I want to thank my brother. Thank you for what you've done to kind of support me in this, to share my videos, as well as, being willing to critique my videos and, let me know the truth, And I appreciate people who are willing to be critical. I take criticism well, and I learn from that and I grow in it. So thank you for that. Thank you for a lot of the people out there who provided inspiration along the way. Those of you who, video creators who done this before me, I like watching your stuff and kind of learn from it. Companies like Droid Life, Marquez Brownlee, Unbox Therapy, Flossie Carter. There's a number of companies out there that, I watch your videos. You got a big following for a reason. You've been doing this for years. And it's kind of, an inspiration for me to kind of learn from them and get better on my craft. And hopefully eventually I can get to that point where I see my videos kind of get better and I can come into my own and find that footing where I just kind of, am trying to get to, find where I belong, find my area, as well as people who helped me with my website along the way, people who created my my logos, my images, and just anything you've done to help me as I've gone through this period of trying to figure out what I want to do with this channel and what I want to do with this website. So all of you guys who had a part in this, thank you. And I hope we continue to see this thing grow. And as I close out, I got to say to all of you out there, enjoy this weekend, man. We got so much going on. Enjoy Endgame. You got that going on. You got the NFL draft happening. Season 2 of Cobra Kai for those who got YouTube Live. That's out there. Gotham concludes this week. You got the NBA playoff. I mean, there's just so much going on this weekend. This is one big weekend. And to close it all out, for those of us who are Game of Thrones fans, we're here. So there's so much going on, so much excitement. Wow, what an awesome week. So for all of you out there, I understand that you got a lot going on. Enjoy this weekend. Thank you for those who did take the time to listen. I'm out.